Good morning, Year 5. Today we are here to talk about angles. Angles are the most important thing inside geometry. It doesn't matter where you are or which grade you are. Every time you talk about geometry, there's going to be a moment that you are going to talk about angles. If you think the angles, they are just like the musculoskeletal system in science in our human body. So the angles are just like our skeleton. The angles give structure to the world around us. So if we analyze the board, we have angles here, we have angles on the portrait, we have angles all around us. It is only possible that a camera works because there are mirrors inside in a certain angle. So the angle is the structure around us, is what gives us structure, what gives us the ability of building bridges, building houses, building cars. So think angles as the musculoskeletal system inside our body. We need the structure that the angles build. It's important that now in year 5 we are talking about angles in 2D. So we are talking about angles on the paper. But when we go to year 6, 7, 8, 9 in high school, these angles, they are going to work in other areas, 3D, trigonometry. So it's important that we understand the angles now, that our geometry journal is full of information. So when we get in the future, we have a very strong base in geometry. Okay, so make sure your notes in your geometry are complete and your geometry journal is a good dictionary for angles. Okay, so we already talked what are or where we find angles. Angles are all around us, giving us structure. So the houses, if you are standing inside the house or inside an apartment, it's because there are angles holding the walls. Okay. Angles, now really talking about geometry 2D in our geometry journal. Angle is formed when I have a distance between two lines. So what are angles? An angle is formed when I have two lines connected by a vertex and the distance between these two lines forms an angle. Okay, so angle is formed is the distance between two lines. So when I have two lines connected by a vertex, it's a consequence. It's not an option, it's a consequence. I create an angle. And here is the importance of capital letter and lowercase. We saw that vertices, we call vertices capital letter because the angles are going to be called lower letter. So if the vertex is the vertex A, the angle is going to be called A, lowercase. So I know the angle you are talking about. If you say the angle A measures 90 degrees, I know that you are talking about the angle that is formed on the vertex A. So when I come back to your drawing, I look for the vertex A and I know who you are talking about. Okay, so that's the way I show angles. We have the vertex, okay, so we always look for the vertex inside the angle, and this is what we call the arm of the angle. All the angles, they have two arms and only. I don't have angles with a third arm. If I make another line here, I'm gonna need to make another vertex and then I am making another angle, not this one. So angles are formed by two arms of the angles, one vertex, because it's the distance between two lines, not one, not three or more, two. And remember, angles are consequences. They exist, you want it or not. This is the arm of the angle, this is the arm of the angle. Okay, we talked about training our eyes to find the three kinds of angles that we have. The angles that are perfectly, let me erase this angle B over here. The angles that are perfectly horizontal and the angles that are perfectly vertical and perfectly horizontal, they are called right angle. So a right angle is an angle of 90 degrees, and we mark it like this. This is the symbol for the right angle. It is an angle of 90 degrees. It has to be 90 degrees. When I come with my protractor, I need to find 90 degrees because it's perfectly vertical and perfectly horizontal, and I call it a right angle. Okay? There are two other ways to classify, two other names to classify the angles. Let me erase the right angle. So we have what we call, every time the markers fell on the video, we have the acute angle, and we have what we call an obtuse angle. And who is gonna tell me if the angle is obtuse or acute is the right angle? So I have the right angle. The right angle is always my guide, okay? So you always that you ask yourself, who is this angle? Think about the right angle, and then you think, is it greater than the right angle, or is it smaller than the right angle? If we make an angle that is smaller, that the arms of the angle are closer, the distance between the lines is smaller, we are talking about an acute angle. So the distance between the lines is not the size of the lines, guys. The size of the lines make no difference. Is the distance between the lines. So you see that the distance between the lines in the right angle is greater than the distance between the lines in the acute angle. So the acute angle is always less than